Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday, the 6th of February. So, overnight we saw the Australian data coming out, and as expected, rates were left as alone. Very little movement in terms of price action from that. So let's look on for what we got coming out today. It's not a great deal of news here today. Just flicking through here, so we've seen Reserve Bank of Australia data out there, 4.35. Just a note there, you can just see a couple of notes from the governor there. Inflation must be convincingly addressed before rate cuts. So it's just saying, following the lead from the likes of the US, UK. Same sort of principle there in terms of inflation's got to be convincingly down to the level, not just a flash, I guess, although the figures have been coming down a lot more for Australia than some others. Okay, so we got that's all done. This construction PMI data barely moves the markets at all. It's quite low class. Really, most of the data that's coming through here, quarterly reports, Bank of England quarterly report, etc. There's not a great deal of movement. We may get a bit of volatility around midday there, but it's really not until the evening here. Downside of sort of measuring this in many different ways. It's certainly in a downward trend for now. The shorter time frames, we've got this little bear flag, and if you come down to the hourlies, it looks even nicer. Now we'll see how this develops, but I'm really looking potential short either on this one or the Aussie. We'll look at the Aussie in a moment, but there's a couple of these that are looking half decent. Even the pound here, same sort of picture. It broke out of its range yesterday. I was a bit more surprised how much it broke out. As much as anything else, it's been holding on pretty well. The sentiment of the pound has been pretty positive in the big money. Yeah, the baby got thrown out with the dishwater by looks of things, or the bath water. Depends on how you wash them these days. Anyway, it's at the moment catching a bit of a bounce. And it's got a similar pattern to the euro there, so we could see this. It might be more reliable than euro. Euros can be quite sluggish at times. The pound follows its patterns a lot nicer at times. You saw it yesterday, sort of 9 o'clock time. It rolled over. There's a bit of patience needed on these this morning. I'll look at them again about half an hour, 8:30, just after. See where they're going and see if they're giving us a bit of a clue. Aussie gave us a bit of a trade yesterday. I closed in the end. It was a day trade. It had hit the S1, which was the original sort of target for shifting stops, maybe, or taking some profits. I left it for a while, but closed it later on. Probably getting a little bit greedy there, but with the news coming out, well, you see what's happened here. So it drove up, so closing out was the right thing. Only got just slightly less than 1-to-1 on it in terms of risk and reward. It wasn't great, but it's a profit banked in this particular case. Don't really like them, but like that, obviously like more reward than risk. So I'm really looking at this morning and wondering whether it will run down. I just come back to the dailies here. I hadn't shown you the dailies. Still looking pretty bearish, and sort of looking at this sort of head and shoulder type pattern that's sort of kicking through here. It's got a chance of coming back down towards these prior lows, but as with everything here, it can just be held up. If we're seeing the dollar sold this morning, well, these could shoot through here, but might be worth waiting to see if it gets kicking in later. US dollar CAD. Just bring this down a little bit. There we go. So the US dollar CAD, I'm sort of was looking at this from a swing perspective, whether it's going to manage to break these levels. It's obviously pulled back at the moment, all sitting back. Often, if they're going to go, they're going to go on the Tuesday. We'll see if it can break through later. but a bit of patience needed at the moment. What it has done, it's done the double top, of course, and we're probably going to get a similar sort of range for between the high and the low there to the downside here. So it's sort of typical little double top type trade that's maybe done. Maybe we'll just foul and continue and push upwards. I wouldn't want to be shorting against this personally at the moment. It's with the pattern that's sitting there, it looks like it's got possible continuation. Looking at the New Zealand dollar, still short on this. It's taking forever. It's moving in the right direction, but it's slow. You see how it's been over the last week or so. Last week, ugly as anything, and it's setting out its stall in the same way, very similar to the Australian dollar here in terms of the price action through the Asian session there. Again, might break off there, already short on that, so we'll leave that, but it's got potential for a continuation here. All of these, the sentiment is following the trend's following the sentiment, whichever way you want to look at it at the moment. It's for the big money. Dollar Swissy, it managed to break out of its major trend here. And pushed up. It's got a bit of a pivot swing here, a break back, or I say a break back, but a break above that yearly. It's a yearly pivot sitting there, a really key level there. If it can break above that, might take another day, and it might be worth waiting to see if this is going to continue its route to the upside. Now there'll be shorters coming in there for sure because of the double top effect. However, there's an argument whether it's just done a bull flag here and it's going to continue through, or whether this double top's going to hold. I would be looking at the short side of things from here on the break of the lows down here, so it's got quite a way before I'm interested in that way, and I'd like a close above the daily pivot ideally for a swing long. Right, okay, I'm going to leave the Forex there for a moment. We'll come back to them in the trading room at 8:35ish. Let's have a quick look at what's happening with gold. So gold just really continued to range trade here, just not doing what you might have expected, bearing in mind the geopolitical tensions, etc. I keep on talking about them, but they're key, and we'd expect more coming from them. Oil likewise, it's just at the moment really flagging to the downside here. I would like to see something run into its weekly pivot up here. It has done this little divergence someone pointed out in our swing room last night. Maybe it's got a bit more upside there to get up to that level. As I said, I would quite like that if it sort of sets up, but again, I don't trade it until 2 o'clock. The S&Ps continue their route to the upside. There's no real proper retracements going on here. You could argue where it's come back to its 4-hourly pivot, so that's fine. We could try and get into it, but it's certainly, to me, just a continuation trade at the moment. It's potential, and certainly I wouldn't be looking to be shorting this. I know there'll be people sitting in it looking at divergence between certain highs or whatever, but there was divergences all the way up here, starting from down here up to here, up to here. Let it show its hand before you run chasing into it. Okay, same through most of these US markets. The DAX was looking promising. Yes, they never managed to do too much. Yes, they in fact ended up in a bit of a short day, but still looking for it to break out through these highs here. That's its stumbling block at the moment. The more it consolidates around this, the more I expect it to push up on further. The FTSE's having a bit better morning. Consolidated yesterday. I was looking at this, wondering whether it was going to roll on and back through, but like the other markets, it's been dragged up there. Slight increase in oil prices might help it more. If you saw more of the oil side pushing up, it values those stocks a little bit higher, and we'll see the consequential moves. But for now, well, it's there, and it's got the potential to push back into those prior highs from December. Right, I shall leave it there. I'll catch you guys in the trading room later if you want to come join. The link's on the bottom of YouTube. Right, guys, I'm going to